So have you ever had Wellington steak? Has gone beyond the usual dishes. First, choose the softest spot on the bull's body. Refrigerate for 48 hours. Mushroom sauce is the soul of tan whiting steak. Cut into small pieces, add more butter with time. Sea salt and black pepper stir-fried together into a plate. Preserved bearing is sealed and refrigerated for 3 hours. Pour all Mr. Lou. Fry the beef, fill it around until it's a little bit almost done. Preserved and put in the refrigerator to taste. Under a slice of authentic Lin all steak. I have to say the Baimer ham. It's an essential ingredient for steak. Then put the frozen mushroom sauce. Take Riz frozen charcoal and put it on top. 10 hours refrigerator. Next is the cake. Pour a small amount of milk into the egg yolk and stir well. Use preservation film along with the steak. Roll it up and put it in the fridge. Use special roller to go straight from left to right. Here's the liquid milk yolk on the steak. And then wrap the cobwebs up. Reapply egg liquid, put in the oven. Not just color, it also makes the skin more brittle. Maintaining temperature 180 degree. The whole process takes 4 hours. Crispy yellow cake face a knife down with fragrant mushroom sauce. You can't help but want to take a bite. You can't imagine it, but inside it's very different. It's different in every gut. Nothing is impossible. These kinds of Korean restaurant organs. It's a very unique and delicious dish. Famous for its unique method of eating sea gut. Every day a lot of people come here. Don't think it's hard to swallow. You can eat it in your mouth. You will find that there is such a delicious food in the world. But its taste isn't DTO at all. It's not just the sweetness of seafood. Moreover, its price is much lower than sea cucumber. Want to eat well? Not have a month's salary? I'm afraid you can't walk through the door of this restaurant. Invite to choose fresh ingredients. They were all taken from the sea on the same day. There is also a boss who carefully handles the ocean intestines. Then first change the knife into internal organs solution. Gushing out like red blood, leaving only the brittle skin. Can eat conveniently. After finished, you can wash several times with water. Its way of doing it is also very simple. Don't need a complicated method. Just put up as raw vegetables. How to eat original. That's the correct way to open the gut. I can't stop eating a bite. Can you believe that an 8 beef pasta? You can see the meat for half a day, but this beef pasta on the streets of Taiwan. It's also paired with a sweet, spicy soup. Smooth ridges into the mouth. It's also hard to forget. The previous batch of beef noodles ate nothing. You can see the boss is busy. Fresh beef just bought from the vegetable market. Process it, cut into equal-sized pieces of beef. It's all imported from California. Especially suitable for long cooking. The smell of meat is also stronger. 1 good beef noodles. First we have to talk about water. Pour a certain percentage of soy sauce into the pot. Onions and onions are also in. Now start making secret sauce. Pour the pieces of onions and the peeled garlic heads into. Then add the spicy sauce and stir well. An appropriate amount of red sugar is also added. All components of the excavator are ready. Wait 2 hours to eat well. Then take the beef out. The beef patties aren't just spectacular, it's an extremely tasty sign. I smell the fragrance from afar. Watching the beef pot unconsciously swallow its saliva. And 8 noodles plus an 8 beef. Pour another tablespoon of delicious spicy. This beef noodle makes people not eat enough. It's done. The noodles are soft and non-greasy and crispy. Good. Another spoonful of spicy soup. It's so good. Do you want to eat it? Pouring hot pebbles on the big mouse. The whole journey is not necessary. Use raw materials as utensils. Smell the taste of good food. A traditional dish of indigenous people. After placing the kangaroo in the pit mixed with ash, you just have to wait 2 hours to eat it. I'm going to take the kidney out of the kangaroo's body. You can add diced onions and potatoes. Stir the pepper powder and vegetable oil well, then put it in the kangaroo's stomach. This one uses raw materials. Even if it's done, and then you can put it on fire to create a shape. You've got to wrap it in tin. Then you can put it in an iron pot. Use the heating method should be down unique. The time has come to pick up the meat immediately. The taste of the outer layer will be tightly wrapped in the inner layer, inside full of meat. Combined with local specialty bread, it's a rare delicacy. Only eating can show respect for him. Outside taste. But this is also the charm of packaged meat. Fast forward to hours and kangaroo should get out of the pot. Even though it looks as black as charcoal. But a strong fragrance still leaves the nostrils. Cut meat out without blowing for its all lean meat. Delicious meat without a bit of fat. This phenomenon occurs in other animals. Cooked lean meat 5-0 only tastes very sweet. Moreover, the taste of each part is different. If it's not a small taste. Especially its tail is not only thick and juicy meat. Moan soy I will also eat a piece. On the streets of Taiwan, there's a traditional dumpling shop like that. He did the opposite. Business reputation. It won the hearts of most customers. We sell 3,000 dumplings a day. However, there are still a lot of customers on Taino. It's all made by hand. The machine processing more power. Every day will be lacking. Typical sheep horn dumplings of the store. Even more beautiful. When out of the pot. Put flour and baking powder into the blender. Then pour an appropriate amount of clean water and start stirring and mixing the noodles. After several times pressing the dough from coarse to smooth soft cake. And then use your hand to roll up a little bit from the edge. She looked like the wife of a fairy appeared before her eyes. And then pull it into powder, and each one weighs half a pound. Looks like simple rubbing but not simple. Not just roll the dough into layers. This is also one of the reasons dumplings don't sell enough. If you cook for 20 minutes, you can eat well. Put a drop of oil in the pot. Put the sheep horn dumplings rubbed in order around. Clean water cover the pot and start cooking. During this time, you have to turn the iron back and forth. It takes about 10 minutes to open the lid. This steaming fire baking method make the bullet dumplings tough. The bottom of the dumpling was also soon baked to the point of being slightly scorched. Dear, do you want to eat such a dumpling? Is there an octopus in the octopus? It's always been a very controversial topic. This is a snack, grilled octopus on the streets of Korea. Big octopus, but fishing is the brand of this store. It's sold for $25 each. The material is also very strong. A piece of cheese placed in each mold. Not eating to the mouth. A pungent smell of milk reaching the nostrils of a fully fed infant. The boss is not stingy to get in. The owner's furniture seems to be white. Quail eggs are also very popular here. Don't be surprised when you see out. This time I finally understood everyone. Not only not expensive. You think that's it? The main character has not yet appeared. An octopus will be placed in the mold one after the other. Then inside the octopus there's actually octopus. With the addition of western bait, all the ingredients in the small pill ready to complete. To shape the pill. This process is very hands-on. Use chopsticks slowly wrong pill. Right after that. You can continue to be wrong. Repeat the same operation like this. Little pill shaping. This process takes about 3 minutes, until the golden ball appears in front of you. This octopus is done. Squeeze a little lettuce sauce when eating, filling the indentation of this combined material with fish flour. Full octopus pellets can be eaten to the mouth. Have a bite. Many tastes in the mouth explode at the same time. It's amazing. This is real because it's cheap. The kids, it's not too much to call him the great octopus.